All right. All right. Welcome to the Good Lie and the Greater Good. My co-host sent me a text today and he was like, get on that with that work, get one of those videos out there. He wanted to do P. Diddy's house being raided by law enforcement over sex trafficking. And I want to do the Florida social media minor ban that they did today. So in this case, Florida has now signed a law that will start on January 1st that says that minors under the age of 16 cannot use social media, and minors 16 and older can use social media with consent from parents. And that's the main jux of why I think this actually works, because it's one of those things that we actually have to think about what's going on and say, like, well, is this in a violation of the First Amendment? And no, it's not, because children, we realize, do not have certain rights because they're children and they can't consent to things because they haven't grown up yet. So in this case, the idea is parents should be helping their children to do dangerous things, safely, i.e., navigate social media and the world. And if parents think that 16-year-olds and older are mature enough to use social media, then they can. If not, then the state of Florida has to step in and say, like, well, these social media companies are not functioning in good faith, i.e., they're entering into contracts with minors. Their terms of service are a contract that you make with the platform in this case. So children should not be able to enter into most contracts. That's why we have parents step in and they sign contracts for minors, because minors can't understand the future, or they can't negotiate with the future hopefully the same way adults can, because adults are wiser. This is debatable because lately it seems like adults are pretty fucking stupid. But anyway, that's what's going on, and that's why this has a little bit more legs to it than I would normally say, where I don't like government overreach stepping in on the First Amendment. In this case, this is all about contracts and minors. And I really like the idea that if a company won't regulate itself, then someone needs to come in and say, hit them with the proverbial newspaper, say, no, you're bad. You should not be engaging with minors. And then the other part of it is, with the online information that everybody puts in, and then they turn around and be data brokered out there into the internet. This is minors putting their information on the internet being sold out there. So again, this is another thing that I don't particularly like the idea of. So as I bring this up before, don't think of this as a website. Think of that as this as renting someone's property, and a minor entering into a contract in order to rent a property. And we can probably all agree on the fact that, like, minors should not be entering into contracts, let alone entering into contracts which give them their own physical location on the planet. So in this case, it's a digital location, and their information is able to be sold by the social media company. This is all stuff that it's like, okay, yeah. Once you break it down into realizing that minors are consenting to things that they probably shouldn't be consenting to, again, like, that's why we say, like, minors can't consent to having sex, minors can't consent to buying alcohol, minors can't consent to or entering into contracts. So again, and sex is a contract, and believe it or not, a contract is a negotiation. When you make a purchase, is a contract. So in this case, like, entering into terms of service is a contract, and minors should not be doing that. And so again, if parents won't do their job, now in this case, I tend to think that the website should have some degree of culpability in their actions in the first place, and it it should not have taken the government to come in and pass a law, because the parents should have been suing the ever loving shit out of these social media companies for entering into contracts with minors and then selling their information. And that the fact that that hasn't been going on is because we have really stupid people in legislative and judicial positions that are not holding the social media companies to account, because they are playing fast and loose with Section 230 about whether or not they're a platform or a publisher. So in this case, like, I would actually say that, like, does not violate the First Amendment. This does not violate anything. If anything, there are certain laws, like the Civil Rights Act of 1964, that really we should take a look at when it comes to the government getting in our business and saying who you are or are not allowed to do business with. And in this case, the government is stepping in and saying, like, yeah, you're not allowed to do business with minors. And I'm okay with that, on a very limited scope, especially because it will force other states to write better and better legislation in theory. And then Florida, if the law is bad to a certain extent, they will hopefully amend it and have a better law, because obviously we can't have certain individuals out there preying on our children. So yeah,